you can see PPT and it is it audible, everyone? आया ठीक. So today we will start with the descending tract. So today we will see the next class from last class we have seen ascending tracts or ascending pathway. So counter to that we will see today descending tract or descending pathway. So descending pathway, descending tract, or it is also called as motor tract or motor pathway. Okay, this are impulses from the brain to the spinal cord. Okay, just reverse of the ascending tract is meant for getting all the information from the surrounding or from the periphery of the body to the spinal. The reverse will happen, that is the information or the impulses or the action potential will traverse from the central nervous system to the spinal cord, and from spinal cord it will go to the skeletal muscle. Okay, so this delivers information from CNS to the spinal cord, and the pathways are that is called as motor pathway. They can be direct pathway that we can call as pyramidal, other where the synapses from the different nucleuses, the synapse with the other cerebellum, basal ganglion, or other cortical regions in the central nervous system, and they finally reach, most call them as extra pyramidal tract. So again, now we can divide descending pathway in two form: direct pathway, that is called as pyramidal tract; indirect pathway, that is extra pyramidal tract. Yes, are you getting all these things? Yes. Audio and video. Yes. Okay. So this motor pathway involves basically descending pathway. We have there first order neuron, second order neuron, and third order. But here there will be only two neurons. One is called as upper motor neuron and one is called as neuron. You can see if we divide this descending tract in this slide, as we have said, this is you can say pyramidal tract, they are called as pyramidal tract or direct tract, or corticospinal tract or corticospinal, because they are going from cortex to the spine. You can see to the spine, that is why corticospinal tract. Other tract you can call as extra pyramidal tract, indirect tract, or subcortical. They are outside from one or two nucleuses, they are not going directly, so they are subcortical tracts. Now again we will see division of cortical or pyramidal. Red color you can see upper motor neuron. Here you can see upper motor neuron in red color. Upper motor neuron from the spinal cord to the muscle spindle. Okay, so this involves two type of neuron: upper motor neuron and lower motor neuron. So again here in good diagram you can see the two type of which is in this descending tracts. They are upper motor neuron. They are arising from the motor cortical regions, different motor cortical regions or different neurons in the cortex, and same with the interneurons, and from neurons there will be lower motor neuron or So basically it has two type of neuron, upper motor neuron and lower motor neuron. And in ascending tracts there are three order neuron, first order neuron, second order neuron and third order neuron. Okay. So you can see upper motor neuron whose cell body lies in the CNS processing center. So whatever center it is, cortical centers, the upper motor neuron cell body lies in that center. Okay. Lower motor neuron cell body located in the motor nucleus of the brain or the spinal cord. So lower motor neuron is of the brain. So it is not the nucleus of the brain. Either it may be in central nervous system or in the spinal cord. That is called as lower motor neuron. Okay. So these are the two neurons which we have seen. So this is descending tract. Now how it is classified, how the descending tract we have seen. So now basic classification is, that is pyramid or corticospinal tract. That is, you can say mostly they are direct pathways. Okay. And another one is or indirect pathways. Okay. So extrapyramidal or subcortical tracts, they are called as subcortical or extrapyramidal. So again, pyramidal tracts, they are crossed pyramidal tracts or crossed corticospinal tract or uncrossed corticospinal tract. Corticospinal tract because they are arising from cortex, cortical the centers, and ending at the spinal cord. So these are corticospinal tract. One is crossed corticospinal tract, another one is uncrossed. Uncrossed corticospinal tract is also called as anterior spinal tract, and crossed tract is also called as lateral corticospinal tract. And mostly this direct so pyramidal tracts, you can see two classification, direct or uncrossed and crossed. Uncrossed is called as anterior corticospinal tract, crossed is called as lateral corticospinal tract. So again we have seen two classification of pyramidal or corticospinal tract, that is anterior and lateral. Now olivospinal tract means they are arising from olivary nucleus and ending at the spinal cord. Vestibulospinal, that is arising from vestibular nucleus, which is important for the head movements of spinal cord. Reticulospinal tract, they are arising from the reticular nucleus for the maintenance of balance and end at the spinal cord. Tectospinal, they are arising from the superior colliculus and they are important for the mediate the head and they end at the spinal cord. Rubrospinal tract, they are arising from thread nucleus and end at the spinal cord for the control of the flexure compartment, flexure muscle. This is the classification of the descending tracts. So it is very important classification. You have to remember the pyramidal tract and extra pyramidal tract. I hope you are getting this thing, so we can continue. Yes. Okay. So you can see why we call this, we will discuss in detail about this corticospinal tract or pyramidal tract first, as it is a prototype and very important descending tract, and you will definitely get a long question. If it is from the descending tract, you have to explain the corticospinal tract. So it is very important tract for your university examination. Okay. So you can see why we called it as pyramidal tract, because usually it crosses from the pyramid of the medulla oblongata. And in green color, so there are pyramids in the medulla oblongata, and this tract, corticospinal fibers or corticospinal, usually go through this pyramids ever from on ipsilateral side. So mostly they cross fiber will cross from lower end of this pyramid. So usually they form a big pool of this pyramid. That's why it is called as pyramidal tract. And the fibers which are not going through extra pyramidal tract or extra pyramidal fiber. As usual for any tract which we have seen that how you have to explain, like origin, its pathway, its connection, its termination, and its function. Okay, so these are the 5 to 6 we will see. Start with the origin of the corticospinal tract. So from where this corticospinal tract originates, so you definitely it will arises from the cortical regions, and mostly from the motor cortex, as the main function of this descending tract is to control the motor activity. So it usually arises from the motor cortex. So you can see 60% of its fiber will arises from 60 to 70% of its fiber will arise from motor, and 40%, 30 to 40% from the somatosensory area. So that too will 8% premotor area and 40% somatosensory area. So these are the origin of corticospinal tract. And how we name these different areas, name of that cortex, motor cortex, or lot of experiment with electrical stimulation or causing any lesion to that particular area. So you can see again this diagram, in this diagram in left, this is the centrally this precentral gyrus, okay, or the central sulcus. This is a precentral gyrus, and there lies the primary motor cortex. So this one is, you can see in red color, primary motor cortex. In front of that, supplementary motor cortex, and in downward direction, green color, premotor cortex. So most of these fibers of this corticospinal tract arises from this premotor cortex, and so this is the origin. Then you can see again in this diagram, primary motor cortex, diagram number 2, you can see 1 primary motor cortex. Then in purple color, this is the precentral gyrus. This is purple in color, primary motor cortex. In pink color, primary somatosensory, and in green color, gray color, somatosensory cortex behind the precentral gyrus. It is acting as a collecting this responses. Likewise, we have seen in ascending tracts, all of the information from the environment to the primary somatosensory area. So now this primary somatosensory area or primary somatosensory cortex is gathering the information, and it is giving it to the primary motor cortex in blue color cortex, and in green color supplementary motor area. So from the this neural fibers or circuits will be there from somatosensory cortex, which will be going to all of this area, and then it will descend down. Okay, again here you can see in prefrontal cortex there will be planning will be there for which of action it has to be done. Again it will affect the motor area. So in that way this is descending tracts. Okay, again you can see over here. So ultimately on left side you can see this diagram, that how this integration of different centers or nucleuses will be there. So this motor area, the planning, this action will come into the prefrontal cortex, it will affect the motor cortex. The information will be gathered from the somatosensory cortex. It will be well executed with the help, or the plan will be done with the basal ganglia. Location of different body parts will be done by the cerebellum. You can see lastly in the cerebral cortex, small area, this one is cerebellum, where with this association of all of these areas, then the information which will be going to the spinal cord. Okay, now here in right diagram you can see this fibers which is arising from the primary motor cortex or motor areas is coming down and entering into this brain stem, and then to the medulla oblongata, and then to the spinal cord. Yes, you can see on right side cortical areas ultimately affecting the motor cortex, and the fibers or whatever information or the action potential which is generated at the new motor fiber will be. So you have got this basic information of the descending tracts, or you can say this specifically which corticospinal tract. What is happening? So are you getting this now? This PPT and audio is there. Some students have any problem, they can WhatsApp me if there is any problem. Okay. Corticospinal tract, where from this cortical this neuron will arise from this cortical motor cortex, and it will be coming down, arising from the cortical areas, and mostly somatosensory cortex, because that is the area where, okay, so wherever whatever your motor action, it is an reflex of any stimulus. So the stimulus will be given by the somatosensory cortex. In prefrontal cortex, like if you want to take glass, so first there will be generation of that thought, or there will be, you will feel thirsty, so that will be generated by the prefrontal cortex. So far there is no generation of thought, because your mind is alert in your work, but that you have to drink water, so that thought arises from the prefrontal cortex, and it goes to the then planning at the basal ganglia. So how you will proceed for that? If the glass will be planning that left arm should first extend, then there will be flexion, and it will come to the mouth. Okay, and then now whether at what position is your limb is there, at what is your body is there, so that will be done by the cerebellum, because cerebellum has, we have seen in ascending tract there is spinocerebellar tracts, which is coming from the Golgi tendon or the spindle. So they have the map of location of your body. Means usually we do not do, like if the any object is placed on the left side, you will not go for that object with the right hand, because it is very easy for the left hand to go on that side unless and until your left hand is not busy. Okay, so that all idea or all the map will be there in the cerebellum. So with that coordination, that motor neuron will come down, and you can see it is descending at the pontine region, then at the medullary region, then at the spinal cord. How that different fibers arises in the cortex. This these are called as the neuron. So this motor cortex, they are called as pyramidal cells of neuronal cells of Betz. So you can see whatever we have seen this motor area. Now the arrangement of this fibers in this motor area, like we have seen in homunculus, we have to see the cut section. Okay, you see the cut section of this cerebral cortex, you will see that neuronal fibers are arranged and they come all their this point at centrally from all the different homunculus or different sides of the motor cortex, like from upper portion, from the medial portion, or from the lateral portion, or from the apex or basal area of this. They come centrally and they form their neuronal bundle. So they form their neuronal bundles or cells of Betz. They come, they form their bundle, and they entered on red color fibers are entering at the L-shaped internal capsule. They enter internal capsule, or they just bypass the, or just come along with this internal capsule, and at this lower end of the leg of this internal capsule, they escape and they enter into the brain stem. Okay, you can see on right side pons, you can see pons. So they enter into the brain stem with the cerebral peduncle. There are attachment of this cerebs with the brain stem with the cerebral peduncle. So or crus cerebri, they enter into the brain. You can see they are entering as same on both the side, right and left. So this is now, you can say these are the fibers, cortical fibers, which are entering into the So, are you getting these things? Yes. Okay. So this to the this pontine region. So there are pontine nucleuses. As you can see, they have their nucleuses and this peduncle with the cerebellum. So the cerebellum with the help of middle cerebellar peduncle, and this cortical fiber, they spread over this pontine nuclei. You can see there will be some connection of this cortical fibers with the pontine nuclei, but usually with very less fibers they will connect with the pontine centers, and mostly this fiber again go down into the medulla oblongata. So this crosses the pontine region, now entering into the medulla oblongata. Now you can see the peculiarity of this pontine center. From right side of the pontine centers, their fiber goes to the left cerebellum, and from left pontine center the fiber will go to the right cerebellum. You are getting this, no? Am I audible or not? Yes. So you can see this red color fiber from the cortical centers enter. You can see this region is diencephalon. This region is midbrain, not exactly the definitely the brainstem, but this is the midbrain where it is entering with the cerebral peduncle, and from midbrain it is entering into the brainstem. Firstly, it enters into the pontine region, it spreads over the pontine nuclei, and then again assemble as a longitudinal fiber and then enter into the medulla oblongata. Now, what happens in medulla oblongata? We will see. Now here you can see this. Now here at the medulla oblongata, 80 to 90% of fiber from the cortical tract, they crosses to the opposite side. Okay, 80 to 90% of the fiber crosses to opposite side. 10 to 20% fibers remain at the same side. Okay, from both the side you can see 80 to 90 fibers from right side crosses to the left side, from left side crosses. Okay, now that tract is called as lateral corticospinal tract, which crosses to opposite side is called as, at the same side is called as anterior corticospinal tract, because they occupy the anterior portion of the white matter of the spinal cord, and lateral corticospinal tract because they occupy the lateral portion of the lateral portion in the white matter. So anterior corticospinal tract, lateral corticospinal tract is from opposite side, and anterior corticospinal it has entered, this fibers has entered from pontine center to the medulla oblongata center. And at what portion of medulla oblongata? Pyramid of the medulla oblongata. So they are entering at the pyramid of the medulla oblongata. That's why they are called as pyramidal tracts. And from pyramid, at the lower end of the pyramid, they decussate to the opposite side. 80 to 90% fiber decussate to the opposite side. 10 to 20 fibers will remain at the same side. Same side means ipsilateral, opposite side means contralateral. And ipsilateral fibers are called as anterior corticospinal tract. The 80 to 90 fibers which crosses to the opposite side, they are contralateral fibers. They are also called as lateral corticospinal tract because they occupy the lateral portion in the white matter of the spinal cord. Okay. Now you can compare the same this right diagram with the left, where the fibers arises from the motor cortical, the enter at the medulla oblongata, cross lateral corticospinal tract will cross to the opposite side, anterior will remain at the same side and entering into the spinal cord. Okay. Now in spinal cord you can see, they synapse. Now up to this spinal cord, all this fiber right from left side you can see which fibers which are arising from the left this motor cortex up to the pons, up to the medulla oblongata, and up to the this gray horn of the spinal cord. These fibers are in red color, you can see up to the red color, they are called as upper motor neuron. What they are called as? They are called as upper motor anterior horn or ventral horn of spinal cord to the lower motor neuron. Okay, so till the spinal cord they are called as upper motor neuron. And here you can see in spinal cord they are synapsing with this lower motor neuron, and this lower motor neuron usually are which type of fiber? Alpha and gamma. There the blue purple color, I think this is gamma, and this red nucleus is of alpha motor fiber. They are lower motor neuron fiber, so they arises from this anterior gray horn cell. So you can see here there is a neuron, and this lower motor neuron arose from the spinal cord. You can see in spinal cord, so there is end or termination or synapse of the upper motor neuron with the gray motor gray horn area, or you can say gray horn lamina. Here they will terminate. They either synapse with the interneurons or directly with the lower motor neuron. And what are the lower motor neurons? Alpha and gamma motor fibers. Now this alpha and gamma motor fibers, they along with this motor nerves, they give their innervation to spindle. Okay. Now muscle spindle, you can see that is and intrafusal fibers. Intrafusal fibers are, these are the fibers of muscle spindle. So they this gamma motor neuron and alpha motor neuron will stimulate the extrafusal fiber. They are contractile fiber, and intrafusal fiber, they are the fibers of muscle spindle. We will see in detail about this muscle spindle at the time of muscle tone and equilibrium. Okay, so you can see this is the termination and pathway of the corticospinal tract, or you can say this and tract. They stimulate or they innervate the axial musculature, means they are mostly important for the central line musculature, like the muscles in the from head, neck and spinal cord, so which is lying more axially in the body. So they are called as axial musculature, which is mainly supporting to your body, and they are anti-gravity muscles. And lateral corticospinal tract, they mostly innervate the distal limbs or peripheral musculature, which is more important for the fine activities and precise activities. Okay, so this is you can say functional division of this pyramidal tracts. Again we will summarize this, or you can see in left side how exactly this fan like structure or fan like fibers of this pyramidal tracts, and they crossing the internal capsule, entering into the pontine and medullary region at the lower end of the medulla. They decussate to the other side in the form of tract. Those who do not decussate, they be at the same side as an anterior corticospinal tract, and in the spinal cord they terminate at the gray horn. Now there is arousal of alpha and gamma motor neuron as a lower motor neuron fiber, and they stimulate the skeletal muscle. Okay. Now in transverse section you can see the location of this descending tract in the spinal cord. In blue color on both sides you can see blue or purple color lateral cortical tract, and at the ventral side or anterior side you can see anterior corticospinal tract on both the sides. So it is lateral corticospinal tract lies laterally in the white matter, anterior corticospinal tract lies white matter of the spinal cord. Ventral side there is vestibulospinal tract, tectospinal tract in green color. You can also see some of the ascending tracts which is in dotted, and where this dorsal column tract. Okay, but we are mostly focusing on tracts and the spinal cord. Okay, this we have seen the classification, how exactly we have classified this pyramidal or corticospinal tract or extrapyramidal tract. Okay. Now what is the function of this pyramidal tract? Basically pyramidal tract, that is corticospinal tract. So they control precise or skillful voluntary movements. They are the pathway for superficial reflexes. Like superficial reflexes we will see in this our practical, or we have seen in reflexes. There are superficial reflex and deep reflex. You can name reflexes. So please name some of the superficial reflexes if you remember to the alpha and gamma motor neuron. So that is the main function. Will not relay its information to alpha and gamma motor neuron. There will not be any action at the skeletal muscle. It can affect the afferent system also. So wherever there is a stimulus from stimulus is generated from the receptor level, and this receptor level carries this information system in the spinal cord in the form of reflexes, or it can alter that information. We will see that how it is doing in that. It can affect the afferent system also. Sensory motor coordination, that is mostly in day-to-day life or routine life we use this coordination, and that definitely will be, both systems are important, ascending pathway and descending pathway. That is hand-eye or hand-eye movement. So eye, you see the object, there is a stimulus going from the retinal fibers into the somatosensory cortex. From somatosensory cortex it stimulates, that in diagram we have seen, it stimulates motor areas. From motor areas then again the fibers will come down, and immediately if you see any object from left side, you will start whatever type of avoid that stimulus, you will ran away to the right side. So this is how the hand eye or the leg eye coordination occurs. So it will be very well important in all the coordination of sensory and motor system is needed. And more precisely, if you want to say, anterior corticospinal tract is more important for the axial musculature, act as an anti-gravity muscle or supporting muscle, and lateral corticospinal tract is mainly for the this distal limb musculature, where there is a skillful activity, fine movements or precise actions has been taken. Okay. Then extrapyramidal tracts, they also help in the maintenance of tone, posture and equilibrium. Automatic association movement, that is swinging of hands. Alternate pathway for voluntary movement, that is maintenance of tone. Head, neck and eye movement. Seat of motor activity in lower animals. So in lower animals, extrapyramidal tracts are more important. Now that we have seen, you can see from motor homunculus on primary motor cortex of left cerebral hemisphere, the fibers are coming, crossing the internal capsule, acting as corticobulbar tract, enter into the cerebral peduncle, then enter into the medulla oblongata, crossing the pyramids. Those fibers who want to cross to the opposite side, they will go to the opposite side. Anterior corticospinal tract will remain on the same side. And at the level of cerebral peduncle, you can see the motor neurons, or this, you can see this cranial nerves which is arising from midbrain and the brain stem. They also align with this corticospinal tract at that level, and they leave right from that region, because there are many cranial nerves which act as an, or which gives the motor fiber. So many nerves are specifically motor, cranial nerve. Many cranial nerves are specifically motor. Many cranial nerves are mixed nerves. So mixed nerve means they also have some motor fiber. So you can see in this diagram, the cranial nerve, they give their fiber, or they leave this corticospinal tract right in the midbrain or at the pontine regions, because in pontine region you can see many cranial nerves has their origin at the pons. So they leave from this corticospinal tract and enter at their nerve fiber and go to the mostly they will go to the facial musculature, or innervating to the muscles of larynx, pharynx, ear, throat. Okay, so they leave that area from that region and enter into their particular nerve root. Okay, So again we will see course of corticospinal capsule divide into bundles in the pons. They decussate at the pyramids in the medulla, and 80 to 90% fibers cross to the opposite side. They are called as corticospinal tract. They are more important for the spines. 10 to 20% fiber don't cross. They are more important for the maintenance of posture and their spinal tract. And the collaterals has their importance in correcting the action, where there has to be augmentation, continuation, or many activities which is involved when you start your any of the motor activity, and this for that the collaterals will go back to the cortex. So many you can now say out of that 80 to 90% fibers, 1 or 2% fibers, 0.25 fibers will go back to the cortex, some to the caudate nucleus and putamen in the basal ganglia for the planning. Some will go to the rubrospinal tract, and that is reticular substance. Some will be aligning with the vestibulospinal tract, that is vestibular nucleus. Some will align with the olivocerebellar tract. Some will give its collateral to the pontine fibers. Then they go to the cerebellum with the contralateral side, means right pontine nucleus will give its fiber to the left side. Okay. Now termination corticospinal tract terminate at the interneurons in the gray horn at the spinal cord, few on sensory relay in the dorsal horn, directly on anterior motor neurons. So some fibers synapse with the interneurons. You can see that diagram again. Remember this diagram? Let's see. Some fiber will synapse or terminate at the interneuron. Some will go with this dorsal ascending tracts for this information, and mostly will synapse with the lower motor neuron, or alpha and gamma motor neuron at the lower motor as a lower motor neuron. So that is termination. Anterior corticospinal tract, some cross in cervical or upper thoracic region, which we have seen from the same side. So mostly the cranial nerves, but obviously not crossing to the opposite side because they are not crossing the spinal tract. Some on same side, concerned with the bilateral postural movement. Same side, so that there can be adjustment of the bilateral postural movements. Okay, so that is the important tract. Now pyramids enter the descending lateral corticospinal tract. Those that do not cross over and enter as an anterior corticospinal tract provide rapid direct method of controlling skeletal muscle. So that is important. Now the direct corticospinal system, we have seen all of this thing in this today's previous discussion. You can see, or you can take the snapshot of this direct corticospinal system, the medial and lateral pathways. That is, I think, of indirect pathway, and we will discuss the extra pyramidal system in next class. Okay. So if you have any doubt, you can ask, or you can ask that in your group. What you are doing? Physiology class, or you are not attending physiology classes? Those who are not attending, they will face big loss, because attending one day, I think, online classes.